UFC 205 will display a version of mixed martial arts almost completely unrecognizable to the sport's oldest fans. With a card stacked with elite talent, the UFC will be visiting New York for the first time since 1995, finally breaking through a decades-long ban of MMA in the Empire State. The event will take place at Madison Square Garden, no less, arguably the world's most iconic arena for not only sports, but popular entertainment of all kinds. MMA will make its re-debut in New York to a stadium packed with adoring fans, an outright display of the kind of mainstream appeal that likely seemed unattainable to fans during the sport's infancy. But in a sense, all of these changes pale in comparison to those single-handedly wreaked by one man, the sport's biggest star, Conor McGregor. These days, it seems every McGregor event creates a maelstrom of opinion, and Mystic Mac is at the eye of the storm. It is a gale from which no one in the fight world can escape. Whether you love him or hate him, admire him, or despair of his very existence, if you call yourself an MMA fan, you simply must have an opinion on Conor McGregor, usually a strong one. This phenomenon is not limited to the viewers either. At the UFC 205 press conference, McGregor's presence sparked an ire in his opponent, Eddie Alvarez, that few ever imagined they'd see from the Underground King. Taunted by the Irish fans, Alvarez stormed out of the room, which, true to form, McGregor had yet to grace with his magnetic presence. When McGregor finally arrived, 13 minutes late, he did so with familiar humor and arrogance. And seeing Alvarez's chair empty, he showed no hesitation in sauntering over to the lightweight champion's place, snatching the belt that still lay on the table and laying it beside his own, just casually adding it to his collection. When Alvarez, hearing of McGregor's arrival, returned to face his opponent, what followed was a brash and frankly ridiculous display in which McGregor threatened to smash a chair over Alvarez's head, invited him to suck on his allegedly big and unquestionably Irish balls, and prompted Alvarez to insinuate, like so many McGregor opponents before him, that McGregor was unwilling to actually brawl, that he only acted up when officials and security were near to restrain him. Though that may be true outside the cage, McGregor has undoubtedly backed up his persona in the fights themselves. His success has been remarkable, laying waste to nearly every opponent put before him and successfully avenging himself against the one man who truly stood in his way. For McGregor, however, combat sports is a career first, and his success has not been limited to the octagon or the press conference stage. Conor McGregor is undoubtedly the best paid fighter in UFC history. Even his negotiating tactics are subject to news coverage. His wealth and finery, topics of interest to fans and fellow fighters alike. It is this success and the relentless pursuit of personal gain that, more than anything else, has seen McGregor leave an indelible mark on the sport around him. There have always been characters in the sport of MMA, and those characters have always talked trash. The frequency of the mudslinging, however, has never been greater, especially when a potential fight with the moneymaker himself is on the line. Put Conor McGregor in a room of fighters within about 30 pounds of his weight, and what do you get? Well, you might get the normally mild-mannered Jeremy Stephens acting up, challenging McGregor with the assertion that he, not Conor, is the heaviest-handed fighter in the featherweight division. Or you might get the equally respectful Frankie Edgar, a UFC veteran and future Hall of Famer with no reputation for trash-talking, suddenly accusing McGregor of ducking him in favor of the underprepared Chad Mendes. Perhaps you'd find former featherweight champion and all-time great Jose Aldo coming out of his well-fitted shell and erroneously claiming that the man who knocked him out in 13 seconds has no power or, as he put it, soap for hands? Or you might get Nate Diaz, never shy about trash talk but usually benign in the aftermath, screaming in a post-fight interview from McGregor's head as the only just reward for his years of hard labor. What you get are fighters imitating McGregor's shtick, or fighters who openly despise it. You get fighters who admire his wealth, and fighters certain that they deserve it more than him. You get jealous fighters, friendly fighters, angry fighters, and fighters just looking to get paid. Conor McGregor is fond of saying that only losers focus on winners while winners just focus on winning. The implication is often that the multitudes calling to be his next opponent see only him. In truth, that is part of it. It seems every McGregor fight is a grudge match of some kind, and in fairness, McGregor has called out so much of the UFC roster that you can't blame them for bearing a little resentment. The big picture, however, is that these fighters see in McGregor opportunity. The possibility of wealth and success, something that has until very recently been foreign to this still young sport. Right now they pursue that by calling McGregor out, hoping to beat him, but hoping more than anything to make a living in the attempt. When McGregor is gone, however, the political and financial savvy will live on. Mixed martial artists around the world will realize the power of personality and charisma. Already, they are latching on to the idea that a few well-chosen words can carry just as much power as one of McGregor's fists, whether that means getting a big fight, negotiating a better contract, or simply pissing the other guy off. Whether they like it or not, Conor McGregor has changed the mindsets of dozens and dozens of other fighters. Looking at his success, it's hard to say that change hasn't been for the better. Because whether you love him, hate him, or simply want what he's got, you cannot ignore what Conor McGregor has done.